Across many competitive arenas, team-based gameplay and solo competition are both, in their own ways, beautiful and complex art forms. In some of these endeavors, there exists only one way to battle, one versus one or many versus many. But on occasion, there's overlap. Tennis, pickleball, beach volleyball, curling, for Christ's sake, you get it. In the gaming world, there's a similar dichotomy, but even less overlap. And in the broader spectrum of esports, team competition is what reigns supreme. Except fighting games are the exact opposite. Most of them don't even have team modes. The ones based around team play, multiverses, well, were they considered failures? Maybe. Some games like Tag Fighters have the teams built into the solo fighting experience, but you're still one individual controlling each of those characters. And then there's Smash. See, Smash Bros is a deep game. Although singles is far and away the most popular way to play the game competitively, the series has long experimented with alternative game modes. From timed and coin battles, to Smash 4's console-exclusive offerings or amiibo training, to innovations in Ultimate like Squad Strike or Spirit Battles. But Smash's most iconic alternate mode, the go-to side bracket for tournaments everywhere, has been with the series since its very first iteration, a team-based mode. And I'm talking, of course, about doubles. Doubles, as the name suggests, is a 2v2 format in which players form teams to take each other on, and it's had a long and storied history in Smash. Even after 26 years, Smash's most recognizable contribution to the broader gaming culture may be the phrase Wombo Combo, which originated from the eponymous mega-viral Melee doubles clip, which, by the way, was named after a pizza, apparently? That's kind of crazy, but anyway, in spite of the nature of doubles as a fast and chaotic format, Smash Bros. Is, once again, a deep game, and the added complexity of twice the number of characters on screen at a time opens up a ton of unique strategies. Some strong, some completely broken. So today, we'll be taking a deep dive into the vast and varied world of competitive doubles, and examining some of the weirdest and most broken strategies any Smash format has ever seen, including one that might soon grow to dominate the newest iteration of the game. Hey, thanks so much to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Now that the holidays are over, it is the perfect time to upgrade your gear for the new year. Raycon just sent me their new bone conduction headphones, and I honestly really like them. I had actually been looking into buying myself a set of bone conduction headphones since I'm looking to increase my mileage this year and try to get into the NYC Marathon, and these are great. They're comfortable, they don't fall out of my ears like traditional earbuds, they're great for my workouts, and the off-ear audio means I practically have no ear fatigue and I'm fully aware of my surroundings while I'm jamming out. The Raycon bone conduction headphones come in a bunch of colors, but I got mine in a jazzy looking mint, and they're pretty affordable, all things considered. So whether you're getting back into a routine in the Big 2-6 or setting new fitness goals, it's a great time to upgrade your audio for the new year. And right now, Raycon is ringing in the new year with a sale, so definitely grab them while you can. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/turndownforwaltbc to get 20% off site-wide. Thank you once again to Raycon for supporting the channel, and I hope you enjoy today's video. In order to understand why some of these double strategies are considered so powerful, we need to break down what makes doubles as a format so fundamentally different from singles. Yeah, obviously there are more players, but if you were to watch a set of doubles for the first time across any Smash game, the first thing that you'd likely notice is just how much faster the game feels. Yeah, it turns out raising the number of active participants to the power of 2 results in an appropriately exponential increase in pure chaos and visual noise. With certain teams, it can even make the gameplay somewhat hard to follow, especially if you're new to watching Smash in general. But on a more practical level, the players who most easily transition from the singles format to the doubles format tend to be those who already play fast and loose and are comfortable reacting to unexpected situations. Playing alongside a partner also means more than just added visual complexity, though. A teammate adds an entire new dynamic to how the game is played. They're another human. A partner can do much more than just fight the opposing player that you're currently farthest away from. They can help you double team, helping to better pin a single opponent down in neutral, or even open up a whole new dimension of devastating punishes in the form of team combos. Teammates can help you recover, either by occupying the enemy's attention while you're off stage, or friendly fire is on in these matches, so they can just walk off the stage themselves to hit you back towards safety. Characters like Melee Falco in this case can be considered excellent teammates because his laser covers the entire map and can save a teammate from pretty much anywhere. And particularly skilled teammates will even recognize when their partner is in trouble and act to protect them. This is actually such a modern development in Melee's doubles metagame, which is so cool, but check this out. Here, Amsa, the Yoshi player, saves his partner Axe, the Pikachu player, from getting kneed in the face with Egg Lay, essentially functioning as like an emergency exit button and rescuing the electric rat from otherwise certain doom. Even in Ultimate, check this out. Pharaoh interrupts a lethal Rob combo against his teammate Syrup with an offstage egg toss himself. Even 3 games down the line, Yoshi still has the tools to save his team. He still kinda sucks at saving himself though. Building off of this, doubles is a format where there's more to winning than just your own skill at the game. Being able to work effectively with your partner and play synergistically is just as, if not more important to doubles success, and the history shows. One of the strongest teams of all time in Melee was PewFat, a team consisting of Fox main SFat and Marth main PewPew. Now, both of these players are among some of the best Melee has to offer, with PewPew reaching a peak rank of 12th in 2013, and SFat breaking the top 10 in 2016, which is when I was his editor, by the way, so that's kinda cool. But they were never at quite the level in singles where you would expect them to dominate majors, or even consistently make the podium. In 2019, SFat ended the year ranked 13th, and PewPew finished at 24th, but in that same year, they were far and away the most dominant doubles team, winning against significantly better singles players like Plup, Mewtwo King, Armada, and Hungrybox, with dozens more players ranked historically much higher than them. And this was after they won doubles at 6 majors in a row the previous year, by the way. PewFat's era of dominance in Melee doubles was a sight to behold, and remains even today as a stark reminder that doubles is an entirely different game. But although they may be one of the most singularly successful teams in Smash doubles history, there's plenty of similar underdog stories throughout Smash the series. In Ultimate, the closest equivalent would probably be Louis Money and Send, again 2 players who have turned in multiple top 50 level seasons across their tenures in the game, but are outrageously more effective as a team. From 2022 to 2023, the 2 of them won doubles at 6 majors and never placed below 4th. Or, for an even more extreme example, twin brothers Linus and Hawk, formerly Linus and Lucy, have individually never been ranked in the global top 150 in Ultimate, but have such strong team synergy that they are genuinely one of the most accomplished teams in the game, winning doubles at the 2022 editions of both Let's Make Big Moves and Get On My Level. Even if a given 2 individual players seem wildly outmatched by their opponents just in terms of raw singles ranking, doubles is a format where teams can become greater than the sum of their parts, which is one of the things that makes these tournaments so dynamic and unique in my opinion. And lastly, there are specific game rules widely adopted in the competitive doubles format that you may not recognize at first glance, again, especially for new viewers. Doubles stage lists can often differ slightly from their singles counterparts, and every doubles game is played with what's called shared stocks. This is basically what it sounds like, but players pool their stocks together, which means that when one player on a team loses all of their initial stocks, they can instead opt to take a stock from their teammate, provided that that teammate has at least one to give. This mechanic, in theory, can prevent the trivialization of a game by hard focusing a single opponent, because as you can imagine, a 2v1 scenario is one of the most difficult situations a competitive player can possibly face. And shared stocks keep it from manifesting until a team only has one total stock left, as opposed to potentially only half their stocks left. Uniquely, Brawlhalla, another game that I commentate, does not have this feature turned on, which actually introduces some interesting meta developments in terms of hard focusing down single players. Since you don't share stocks in this game, as soon as you run out, you are just completely out of the game. And since some defensive measures, like DI from Smash, which is the mechanic that allows you to influence your launch angle to live longer, are not as prevalent in Brawlhalla, it makes every stock in doubles all the more important. Brawlhalla does have DI, by the way, but it's a bit more situational, where you need to be hit by the same attack twice in a row in order to be able to change your trajectory. This, of course, happens a little bit more commonly in the doubles format, where if you have 2 teammates using the same weapon, you can get hit by the same attack twice by either player, which could allow you to escape. But because this isn't as emphasized of a mechanic, in Brawlhalla doubles you can essentially 2v1 a player until they run out of stocks, then leave your team with another 2v1 to close out a game. What makes this interesting to me, though, is that I do kinda believe that in theory you can solve a game without this stock sharing feature, particularly by being mindful of what weapons you have equipped to ensure you're performing non-DIable true combos. But since Brawlhalla players go into their matches knowing that this is a thing, they've built appropriate strategies to play around it. In addition to shared stocks, another game change in the doubles format I alluded to earlier is that team attack is enabled. Team attack also means exactly what it sounds like. Any moves a player uses can hit both their opponents and their teammate. Initially, you might assume team attack is enabled to prevent players from picking projectile characters and just hunkering down on stage. And yeah, it does a great job at preventing, say, two Belmont players from waiting out the entire match behind endless waves of axes, crosses, holy waters, and whatever other projectiles they may have in whatever other games. But, like I talked about earlier, being able to hit your partner also adds another layer of strategic depth to the format that would otherwise be lost. Not only does it demand a greater degree of skill and precision from players to avoid hitting their teammates in disadvantageous scenarios, but it also leaves the option open for when smacking your own partner is actually to your benefit. I've already gone over how team attack can enable you to hit your teammate back towards the stage or bat them out of an opponent's combo, but there's a ton of more niche interactions that depend on using a move against your teammate that would otherwise be entirely non-viable. Here's a quick example. Snake's down special, C4, allows him to attach a powerful remote explosive to either the stage or a character, but sticking it to a character requires they be right next to him, remaining absolutely still. You can probably see where I'm going with this, but in double, Snake can instead affix the C4 to a willing teammate who can then run up and grab an opponent, and if that teammate is Kirby, Meta Knight, or Charizard, then their up throw involves first flying their clinch captive high up into the blast zone, then dropping back to the stage, during which time the thrower is entirely invulnerable. However, if Snake pulls the trigger on his C4 in the middle of the throw animation, the strong explosive hitbox is enough to instantly KO the thrown opponent at any percent, while the teammate is returned safely to the ground. And if the teammate can't quite get a grab, they're at least likely to pass the C4 onto an opponent via contact, at which point Snake gets to play hot potato around their defensive options. This strategy was actually first popularized by the YouTuber Omni in Brawl, and the strategy only works because team attack is on, which allows the Snake's partner to be a valid target for his C4. Alright, so even without team attack and its associated interactions, having a skilled partner, turns out, can be really good for a team's offense. A quick online search will yield reams of synchronized doubles combos, where team members swat opponents back and forth as if they were playing tennis, often leading to an explosive finish. Moreover, grabbing in doubles becomes way more rewarding than in singles, and it's already really good in singles. Since throws by and large send at predictable angles even as percents climb, a player who grabs an opponent can simply wait for their teammate to get in position, then throw the unfortunate enemy into an easy smash attack or similarly punishing option. Or, if the situation calls for it, there's nothing stopping the teammate from just going over there and hitting the grabbed opponent. Furthermore, in every Smash game, throws have a period of invulnerability during which the thrower can't be affected by any outside sources of damage. It's 8 frames in Melee and Brawl, 18 in Smash 4, and a throw-dependent total in 64 in Ultimate. Synced up teammates who time their attacks during these windows of invincibility get a free hit on the opponent without the downsides of damaging their partners as well. And if that wasn't enough, in many titles, teams are capable of just straight up 0-to-death comboing opponents off of a grab in a 2v1 scenario. In Melee and Brawl, characters with quick grabs and pummels like Falcon, Fox, and Marth can simply stand on either side of the opponent and, with really good timing, regrab them the moment their partner releases them, forming an infinite combo. The addition of regrab invincibility in Smash 4 removed this option from the game, but 4's footstool mechanics still allowed some teams to loop certain throws into footstools, jab resets, and regrabs. And although Ultimate has no widely available version of this infinite, before patch 8.0.0, Ridley's skewer sweet spot could create an infinite combo with any move that buried, most prominently K-Rool or Banjo's down throws. As a result of all of these nuances in the format, the doubles metagame can oftentimes look radically different when compared to singles. Generally speaking, many characters can become more viable in doubles, especially in games with larger rosters, since any given fighter's weaknesses can be shored up by their teammate. Also, generally speaking, the strongest characters in singles tend to remain good options in doubles, but some characters with unique properties find themselves significantly buffed in a 2v2 format. For example, in Brawl, Wario goes from a solid enough mid-tier to a true doubles threat, with high aerial mobility, reliable kill setups with down and forward throw, and the potential to score momentum-swinging early KOs with Waft. Double Wario was a genuine meta team comp in Brawl, aside from the Meta Knights everywhere, and remained strong in later games, with the Meta Knights kind of being banned in some of these events. In Ultimate, the character with arguably the biggest glow-up is Incineroar, who pounces from a rarely seen C tier to arguably a top 5 character in the format. Incineroar can swing with huge heavy aerials to disrupt opponents and hold on to stocks with his high weight. He can counter both enemy attacks and coordinated moves from his partner with Revenge, stacking up damage and knockback buffs to his next attack, and his side special, Alolan Whip, on top of its utility as one of the game's most powerful command grabs, is also perhaps the single best move in the game to save an ally off stage by refreshing their specials or simply launching them upwards to help them recover. But perhaps the most iconic example of a character who gets much better in doubles is Lucario, a fighter whose inherent attributes become much more effective in a 2v2 setting by default. Lucario's main gimmick is aura. Not aura farming, but aura. Sure, okay, whatever. But that makes all of his attacks more powerful the more disadvantaged he is in a match. First, the higher Lucario's percent in a stock, the more damage he'll deal, up to a 1.67 increase in ultimate. In Smash 4 and onwards, this also stacks with Rage, the universal mechanic that makes every character's moves stronger at high damage. And second, Lucario also gains an aura boost the lower his stock count is as compared to all other players, including his teammate. So, all told, a fully juiced Lucario at maximum aura hits 2.5 times as hard as a Lucario just starting a match at 3 stocks and 0 damage. The implications of these mechanics in doubles are absolutely staggering. An aggressive Lucario player is essentially rewarded for playing a 1v2 while his ally sticks back and holds onto stocks. The more damage Lucario takes and the more stocks he loses, the stronger he becomes until opponents are left dealing with arguably the strongest single character in the game. This strategy was known as the Anubis combo, and it's seen widespread use from Lucario's introduction in Brawl through to present day in Ultimate. Trella and Mewtwo King were among the first to popularize the strategy, using an aggressive Lucario and a defensive Meta Knight to win the original Skatar. In Smash 4, Tejeda and Goma adapted the strategy with a team of Lucario and Lucas, using Lucas's PSI Magnet to absorb Lucario's powerful projectiles, heal damage, and better preserve spare stocks for the Lucario player. This strategy proved wildly effective. The Goma Heta team was a staple of Japanese doubles and even won them Super Smash Con 2016, one of the largest doubles tournaments of that year. In their match versus Vinny and Abadango, Tejeda's Lucas managed to heal an astonishing average of 375% worth of damage per game. And for those of you who stuck around for Smash 4's metagame, that's a lot. That is a lot of damage. And in one of the most aggressive implementations of the Anubis strategy, Mars occasionally opted to throw his first stock away entirely while teamed with Zenodo, SDing immediately to preemptively boost his aura in-game and out. The strategy brought the pair a ton of success, including a third-place finish at one of the biggest doubles tournaments of all time, 2GG Civil War, during which some opponents even opted to SD themselves to try to deny Mars and Zenodo the aura advantage. So far, we've talked about the characters or combos strong enough to be meta-defining in a 2v2 format, but we're still a long ways from the peak of what doubles has to offer in terms of powerful combos. In fact, across the entire Smash series, there are more characters that remain banned in doubles formats than they are in singles. Starting in Smash 64, a team of 2 Pikachus is widely disallowed in competitive play, and this is because Pikachu is pretty much the agreed-upon strongest individual character in 64, and having 2 of them in a doubles match far and away outclasses every other potential team in the game. Similarly, Double Meta Knight was banned in Brawl doubles with almost the same justification, being far and away the most powerful team in the game, and if you want to know why, the first few seconds of Apex 2012 Grand Finals should tell you just about everything you need to know.
A bunch of nerds who get together and play video games. Oh my god!
As you
Quadruple tornadoes!
Although Supernova 2025's ban on Bayonetta in Smash 4 applied to both singles and doubles, by far the more infamous Smash 4 team's ban is Double Cloud. Already one of the strongest characters in Smash 4 singles, Cloud's strengths were only exemplified in a 2v2 setting. Cloud's huge aerials like Nair and Bear were effective at stuffing out multiple opponents just as effectively as they were for one, and it could lead to devastating team combos. Furthermore, unlike in Ultimate, Smash 4 Cloud's limit lasted until it was used, meaning that while one Cloud fended off opponents, another could just run away to charge limit, allowing both players to rather easily cycle between buffs that could potentially last the rest of the game. These strategies allowed teams like MKLeo and Kimura Kiri to attain runaway success in Smash 4 doubles, with that particular team going a perfect 6 for 6 on major tournament victories. A study by the Smash statistician Barnard's Loop found that across Smash 4's entire history, Cloud was more dominant by results in doubles than Bayonetta was in singles, even after the ban on Double Cloud. At this very point in time, no particular team has emerged in Ultimate as a similarly ban-worthy threat. Some combos were patched out of the game during its active update cycle, the Ridley Berry Infinite for example, or an interaction between Pokemon Trainer and Joker that actually allowed Joker to fill his Arsene gauge whenever his teammates switch Pokemon, a glitch which got the team banned from, ironically, the major tournament Glitch 7 before being patched out. There are other teams that have interactions that could be potentially bannable, but are already covered under stalling rules. For example, in most Smash games, a team of 2 Luigis repeatedly chaining Sour Spot up specials to camp unreachably high in the top blast zone. Esam, one of the most experienced doubles players in the game, has advocated for Steve to be banned in the format, as his teammate can help stall while he mines for diamonds and amasses enough resources to dominate the field. And Steve certainly has plenty of strong results, but weirdly enough, in my opinion, the frontrunner for the new strongest Ultimate team, the superlative winner for most likely to be banned in the future, comes in the form of an unlikely team-up, Mr. Game & Watch and Mi Brawler. Why, you may ask? Because they can do this.
He's dead at 30!
Okay, let's break this down. Mr. Game & Watch is one of the best characters in Ultimate, rated top 4 in singles and probably at least top 10 in doubles. He specializes in throwing out fast, active aerials that can lead into long, damaging combos, most of which carry the opponent vertically. But to make up for this, he's somewhat lacking in overall vertical kill power, with his up smash being his only prominent move that KOs off the top. Meanwhile, Mi Brawler has access to Thrust Uppercut, affectionately shortened to Thrupper, which is arguably the strongest vertical kill move in the game. Not only does it have tremendous knockback, but the move also drags opponents caught in it closer to the top blast zone before the final hit, almost a Y-axis equivalent to Rob's notorious side special. So a watchful Mi Brawler positioned on a platform can catch all manner of vertical knockback from their Game & Watch partner, be it from Nair, up tilt, up throw, up air, and quickly convert it into a KO with a Thrupper. On some stages, with the right setup, this combo is a 0 to death, and overall it is one of the most flexible and easy to execute lethal team combos in the game, maybe in the entire series too. Outside of this combo, Game & Watch and Brawler are both fantastic doubles characters on their own, with Game & Watch's big, swift, and active hitboxes dominating the stage, while Brawler's combination of speed, feint jump recovery, and an additional invincible, long-lasting kill option in Flashing Mach Punch. The Game & Watch Brawler team is hardly a new invention in Ultimate though. It's been known as a strong team comp for years now, though it's been most viable in Japan, where players like Zachary and Hikaru found success with the team at events like Ignite, the Kaguribi team's double series. More recently, the pairing was repopularized through the exploits of Shiranyu and Shirahaga Shisan, 2 players who primarily play in online doubles brackets and specialize in the Game & Watch Brawler combos. But what really kicked the team into the community spotlight was its adoption by Mia, currently the number 4 best player in the world and the most successful Game & Watch player of all time. At the French major Uzès Symphonic Gaming Festival last May, Mia ran the team comp for the first time, paired with T, a fellow top-level Japanese player who had notably never played Mi Brawler in a prior competitive bracket ever. And together, the two completely ransacked the tournament. The team carved through 5 rounds of competition, besting the likes of French legends Gluttony and Rafflo, without dropping a single game. In Winners Finals, they found themselves overwhelmed by MK Leo and MK Big Boss, losing a 3-1 to the vaunted duo, but after another quick 3-0 in Losers Finals, Mia and T prepared for a grudge match in Grands. Quick detour for context, by the way, MK Leo and MK Big Boss are one of the most accomplished doubles teams in the history of Smash Ultimate. On a technical level, they play one of the most solid team comps in the entire game. Joker is quick and maneuverable, can quickly build up Rebel's gauge with the help of his partner, and is one of the hardest hitting characters in the game while Arsene is active. Rob has huge disruptive hitboxes like Nair and Bear, stage-spanning projectiles like Laser and Gyro, and one of the single best throws in the game for team KOs, with down throw providing 50 frames of invincibility. On a personal level, MK Leo and MK Big Boss are just about some of the closest friends in the scene, regular practice partners who have been doubles teammates across 4 years and some 30-odd events. And on an accolade level, they're at least among Ultimate's top 5 most accomplished static teams ever, with 6 major double brackets to their name. Overall, the MKs are a well-oiled machine, a veritable dynamic duo of doubles demons. In the first set of Grand Finals, using Game & Watch plus Brawler, Mia and T 3-0 this team. It is an outstanding showing for the comp, with T taking 6 of their opponent's 18 stocks with Thrupper. Combined with the ensuing True Finals, where Mia and T just managed to eke out a Game 5 victory and claim first place at USGF doubles, Thrupper takes a total of 12 stocks, just shy of 30% of the total stocks Leo and Big Boss lost in that match. And for good measure, Flashing Mach Punch took another 7. Oftentimes these are pivotal stocks as well, early kills that help Mia and T keep pace with the more accomplished team early in the game and set up 2v1 scenarios later on. It's an impressive showing for sure, but what seals the Game & Watch Brawler duo as a prominent candidate for the new biggest threat in Ultimate Doubles meta is what happens 3 months later at Riptide 2025. Here, Mia again teams with a player using Mi Brawler in doubles for the very first time, though on this occasion it's Hurt, another Japanese titan who has been the closest thing to a static partner for Mia at events they both attend. Once again, the Game & Watch Brawler pair tears undefeated through the doubles bracket until being knocked out of winner semis by Onin and Lol Yoshi. Not to be dissuaded, Mia and Hurt square up to face their losers' opponents, a first-time team-up from Akola and Zachray, both players who at one time or another have had claims to being the best player in Japan. And after 2 dominant games and 6 stocks lost to Thrupper, Akola and Zachray get so desperate that they do this.
And here we go, the meta develops even further.
That's right, you're looking at, to my knowledge, the first Game & Watch Brawler Ditto in an offline doubles major. Mia and Hurt, the more practiced at this team comp, emerge triumphant and go on to place 4th at the event, falling in loser semis to Kurama and Louis Money, seemingly the current best doubles team in the world. But it's gotta make you wonder. Although Mia and Hurt have so far been bested by teams with superior synergy, Game & Watch Brawler still seems like a strong contender for one of the better team comps in the game. And it's clear that the two still have a little ways to go before bringing out its maximum potential. If Hurt were to gain more experience with the character beyond just first timing it at a major, how dominant could the two become? Or conversely, now that Mia's so prominently demonstrated the strength of this team, how many other players might pick it up? As of now, Game & Watch Brawler has yet to win a huge tournament in Ultimate, but the concept has been thoroughly proven. The pairing has the potential to shake up the meta in an enormous way. But as we've seen, the doubles meta, like singles, is always evolving in new and unpredictable fashions. For Ultimate, it's a large enough game with so many potential team comps that, as likely as it is that Game & Watch Brawler will continue to make waves, something new could just as easily arrive to replace it. In Melee, experimentation in doubles continues to bear fruit, with teams like HBox Moki assembling for the first time this year and winning back-to-back brackets at Supernova and Collision. The famous French sisters I4 and Fek took the world by storm just a few years back by becoming these Melee players who got really good at doubles in the peak of the pandemic in the middle of nowhere France. Like, why did they even want to play Melee? I think that's just the type of format doubles is though. Endlessly deep and always capable of further optimization. And if you hadn't recognized it before, I hope it's clear now just how many ways there are to play doubles, and how many more still lie waiting in waters yet untested. Thanks for watching.
Hey, thanks so much to my top tier patrons and YouTube members, Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Brent Mukai, Carter Roberts, Dark Genix, Eric is Cool, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, James Fabman, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, and Sam Wright.